Every day, rare coins slip through our hands and most of us never even notice. But today, we're uncovering the most valuable and super rare Washington quarters that could be sitting right in your coin jar right now. Some of them are worth thousands, so make sure to watch till the end. You won't want to miss the number one quarter on this list. Have you ever held a piece of loose change in your hand and wondered if it might be worth a small fortune? Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple quarter, just 25 cents, and finding out it's worth more than a brand new luxury car. That's exactly the case with one particular coin minted in 1996. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter, but this small piece of metal hides a secret that has stunned collectors and casual holders alike. The story begins in 1996, a year not marked by dramatic shifts in the US coin world, at least on the surface. The US Mint had not yet launched its now famous 50-state quarters program, that wouldn't begin until 1999. But what was being produced were the classic Washington quarters. These quarters had remained relatively unchanged since their introduction in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of America's first president, George Washington. The design, with his steadfast profile on the front and a regal eagle perched on the back, was as familiar to Americans as apple pie. That year, 3 different mint facilities took part in striking the 1996 quarter: Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Denver. Each mint left its own small signature in the form of a tiny letter, P, S, or D. It was the Denver Mint that created what would become one of the most valuable circulating quarters in modern history. The 1996 D quarter, the Denver Mint produced more than 900 million quarters that year. That's right, over 900 million. So how could one of them possibly be rare, let alone worth tens of thousands of dollars? That's where this story gets interesting. Most coins, even ones with some age, are only valuable if they're pristine, untouched, uncirculated, and stored properly. Others are sought after because of their errors, minor anomalies that slip past inspectors and into circulation. It's this combination of condition, error, and history that gives coins their unique value in the eyes of collectors. The 1996 D Washington quarter had something else going for it. Not only did a very small number leave the mint in nearly perfect condition, but some of them were produced with errors so rare that they became instant collector's items. These weren't the kinds of errors you'd notice just by glancing. No, you'd need a trained eye, a jeweler's loupe, and maybe a bit of luck. Some of these quarters exhibit a doubling of letters or numbers on the obverse side, what collectors call a double die. In the coin world, double dies are like winning lottery tickets. They happen when a coin die, the stamp used to strike a coin, shifts slightly between impressions. The result is a slight, ghostly double image. To most, it looks like a blur. To a collector, it's a goldmine. Others had off-center strikes or were struck on the wrong metal planchet entirely, perhaps intended for another coin denomination. Any of these minting mishaps can drastically elevate a quarter's value from mere pocket change to something museum-worthy. And then, there's condition. The few 1996 D quarters that were struck sharply, without blemish, and preserved in mint state condition are graded on the Sheldon scale. Coins graded MS-67 or MS-68 are considered exceptional. The closer a coin is to perfection, the rarer, and more valuable, it becomes. The appeal of the 1996 D quarter isn't only in its physical properties. It's in its context. This coin came just before one of the most revolutionary coin series in American history, the 50-state quarters. This means it represents the very end of an era, the last of the classic eagle-back designs before the coin world changed forever. Collectors today value it not just for its flaws or its luster, but for what it symbolizes, a bridge between the old and the new, the traditional and the commemorative. Stories have emerged over the years of people finding one of these coins tucked away in a change jar, hidden in an old purse, or stashed in a forgotten drawer. Some of them looked ordinary at first glance. But upon closer inspection, under good lighting and magnification, small details came to life. The doubling, the crisp edges, the way the light danced across the surface. And then came the realization, this wasn't just a quarter. This was a treasure. Auction houses have taken notice. Coin grading services have documented the rise in demand. And as collector communities grow online and at in-person conventions, word spreads about just how rare a perfect, or nearly perfect, 1996 D quarter really is. Many people have started combing through their collections, their old change, even rolls of coins from the bank, hoping to find that one elusive prize. Now you might be wondering, just how much could this little coin be worth? Could it really be possible that something you once used in a vending machine, or handed to a cashier without thinking twice, could carry a value that would change your life? Well, here's the truth, and it's a jaw-dropper. In recent auctions, a pristine 1996 D Washington quarter, graded MS-68 by top grading authorities and exhibiting a rare minting anomaly, sold for a staggering $63,000. That's right. $63,000. For a 25-cent coin. So next time you're handed a quarter in change, don't just toss it into a jar. Take a closer look. You never know what secrets might be hidden in the shimmer of silver and the curve of an eagle's wing. The second rarest coin we're about to explore might be hiding in plain sight, tucked away in coin jars, piggy banks, or forgotten rolls of change. It's the 1993 D Washington quarter, a coin that looks utterly ordinary but holds a fascinating secret and an astonishing value that few ever imagine. Back in 1993, the United States Mint's Denver facility was hard at work producing quarters by the hundreds of millions. Over 600 million of these coins were struck in Denver alone that year. On the front, they proudly featured the familiar image of George Washington, the first president of the United States, his profile an enduring symbol of leadership, courage, and American heritage. On the back, the classic bald eagle spreads its wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, an emblem of strength and peace. To most people, these quarters were simply everyday currency, used to pay for groceries, parking meters, or a quick snack. They were made to be spent, to circulate endlessly. But buried within that staggering number of coins is a small handful of extraordinary specimens, coins that are far from ordinary. These special quarters possess minting errors and exist in such exceptional condition that they have become highly coveted treasures among collectors worldwide. One of the rarest and most intriguing features these quarters can possess is what numismatists call a double die error. This fascinating error occurs during the coin's manufacturing process. Normally, the die, the metal stamp used to imprint the design onto the blank coin, is pressed only once to leave a clear image. But sometimes, the die shifts slightly and strikes the coin again in a slightly different position. This results in a doubled or shadowed image, making letters or numbers appear as if they have been stamped twice. On the 1993 D quarter, this doubling often appears around key details like the date, 1993, the word, liberty, or the phrase, in God we trust. At first glance, it can be easy to miss. To the untrained eye, the doubling might look like a blur or a shadow, but collectors know that this subtle doubling is the hallmark of a rare and valuable coin. The existence of this double die error drastically increases the coin's rarity and desirability, but rarity is only half the story. Condition is just as vital. Most quarters from 1993 have been used extensively, showing the usual signs of wear and tear, scratches, dings, and dulled surfaces from decades of circulation. However, an elite few quarters have been preserved in a state so pristine they look nearly flawless, as if they had just been minted yesterday. These coins are known as mint state or MS coins and are graded on a scale from 60 to 70. A coin graded MS-67 or MS-68 is virtually perfect, its design details are razor-sharp, its surface gleams with a brilliant luster, and it bears almost no visible imperfections. Now, imagine the journey of one such coin. Freshly minted at the Denver facility, struck with perfect precision, and then somehow spared from circulation, remaining untouched in a protective holder or a collector's album. Perhaps it was carefully saved by a numismatist who recognized its potential value, or maybe it sat unnoticed for years in a box of old coins, patiently waiting for its moment to shine. This quarter also occupies a special place in the history of American coinage. It was struck just a few years before the United States Mint launched the 50-state quarters program in 1999, a program that transformed quarter collecting from a niche hobby into a nationwide craze by introducing unique designs honoring each state. The 1993 D quarter stands as one of the last coins before this new era began, making it a significant piece of numismatic history, a symbol of the traditional eagleback design's final chapter. Collectors are absolutely captivated by the 1993 D quarter with the double die error, especially when it's preserved in mint state condition. The excitement of discovering one is almost indescribable. Imagine sifting through rolls of coins or an old collection and suddenly spotting the telltale doubling on the date or letters. It's like uncovering a hidden treasure, a rare window into the minting process that few ever get to see firsthand. The thrill of this discovery is one reason why the 1993 D quarter continues to be so highly sought after by collectors and investors alike. It's a coin that tells a story of history, craftsmanship, and chance, and now for the jaw-dropping revelation: the coin value of a 1993 D Washington quarter, when it exhibits this rare double die error and is preserved in outstanding mint state condition, ranges between $65,000 and $69,000. That's right. A coin that was originally worth just 25 cents can now command a value of tens of thousands of dollars. This incredible leap in value reminds us that treasures are often closer than we think. Sometimes, the most unassuming objects hold the most extraordinary secrets. So next time you're handed a quarter, especially one from the early 90s, take a moment to really look at it. Check the date, the lettering, the sharpness of the design. You might just be holding a rare, priceless piece of American history, because in the world of coin collecting, it's the smallest details, the subtle doubled lines, the untouched surface, the perfect strike, that transform an ordinary quarter into an extraordinary treasure. The third most valuable and rare quarter we're diving into today is one that might be hiding right in your pocket or tucked away in a drawer, completely unnoticed. The 1990 D Washington quarter is far from ordinary once you start peeling back the layers of its history, minting quirks, and the fascinating world of coin collecting. At a glance, this quarter looks just like millions of others minted in Denver that year. It carries the timeless portrait of George Washington on the front, the image that's been gracing quarters since 1932. The eagle on the reverse, majestic and poised, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizes the strength and peace of a nation. It's a design etched into the collective consciousness of America and a familiar sight for generations. But while the majority of these coins were minted to be used, spent, and circulated endlessly, a small fraction escaped this fate and are now considered some of the most prized quarters by collectors. You see, the 1990 D quarter occupies a fascinating place in numismatic history. It predates the famous 50-state quarters program that started in 1999, a series that transformed the hobby of coin collecting across the United States. This coin is part of the final chapter of the classic eagleback quarters, making it a symbol of an era that many collectors deeply appreciate. What sets certain 1990 D quarters apart and drives their value is a combination of rarity, condition, and some subtle but incredibly important minting errors. Mint errors occur when something goes slightly wrong during the coin striking process. In the case of the 1990 D quarter, one of the most notable errors is known as the double die. Imagine a coin die, the steel tool used to stamp the design onto blank coin planchets, shifting just a tiny bit between strikes. This misalignment causes certain parts of the coin's design, like the date, 1990, or the word, Liberty, to appear doubled or shadowed. This doubling isn't immediately obvious to the casual eye, but under magnification, it reveals a fascinating anomaly that collectors seek out like hidden treasures. Such double die coins are rare and hold significant collector interest because they represent a unique moment of imperfection in the minting process. Each double die coin is essentially a one-of-a-kind artifact, a tangible reminder that even in a mass production environment, mistakes happen, and those mistakes can make a coin incredibly valuable, but rarity alone doesn't tell the full story. Condition plays a monumental role in determining a coin's value. Most 1990 D quarters you come across show signs of wear, scratches, dull surfaces, and softened details from decades of use. These coins are considered circulated and typically hold value close to face or just a bit more. However, some coins escaped circulation and were preserved in what collectors call mint state. These coins retain sharp details, vibrant luster, and virtually no wear. A 1990 D quarter in a high mint state grade, such as MS67 or MS68, is extraordinarily rare, especially if it also carries a double die error. Imagine a coin struck in 1990, then immediately tucked away, protected from handling, and preserved in near-perfect condition for more than 3 decades. This survival story adds a layer of mystery and allure. How did it avoid the countless hands that spent every other quarter? Was it carefully saved by a collector? Did it remain hidden in a forgotten collection or a sealed roll? Whatever the case, these coins are prized not only for their mint state beauty but also for their scarcity. When combined with the rarity of mint errors like the double die, you have a recipe for a quarter that's exceptionally valuable and highly sought after. Collectors today actively hunt for these special coins. They know that a 1990 D quarter with rare minting anomalies and outstanding condition is not just a coin, it's a piece of American history, a silent witness to a bygone era of coinage, and a tangible asset that holds impressive worth. But it's important to understand that the exact value of any particular 1990 D quarter depends on multiple factors. Condition is crucial. An error-filled coin in poor condition won't fetch the same interest or price as one in pristine condition. The severity and visibility of the error matter greatly. And finally, collector demand fluctuates over time, influenced by market trends and new discoveries. What does this all mean for you, the coin holder or curious collector? It means that if you stumble upon a 1990 D quarter, it's worth taking a moment to examine it carefully. Look closely at the date, the word Liberty, and other inscriptions for any signs of doubling or unusual features. Using a magnifying glass or even a jeweler's loupe can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. If you discover such features, it's worth having the coin professionally evaluated and graded by a reputable numismatic service. Proper grading can unlock the coin's true potential value and ensure you understand its place in the collector market. This quarter's story is a testament to the incredible value hidden in everyday objects. It reminds us that history, rarity, and condition can elevate a simple piece of metal into a prized collectible worth much more than its original face value. So next time you find a 1990 D quarter, don't just see it as a quarter. See it as a key to the past, a collectible treasure with a unique story, and possibly, a valuable asset depending on its condition and minting quirks. The fourth quarter dollar coin we're exploring is a fascinating piece that often flies under the radar but has captured the attention of serious collectors around the world. This is the 1987 D quarter, a coin that might look common at first glance but holds extraordinary appeal and value for those who understand its story. Picture America in 1987. The country was experiencing a blend of economic optimism and cultural evolution. Music was blasting from cassette players, movies like The Untouchables and Fatal Attraction dominated theaters, and amidst all this, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing coins like the 1987 D quarter. These coins were intended to circulate for everyday transactions, but little did anyone realize that some of them would one day become rare collectibles treasured for their unique characteristics. The obverse side of the coin features a familiar and iconic image, George Washington's profile, facing left. This portrait, designed by John Flanagan, has been the face of the quarter since 1932, symbolizing leadership, integrity, and the founding of the nation. Around his image are the words, Liberty, the national motto, In God We Trust, and the year, 1987, stamped clearly, anchoring the coin in time. Flip the coin over, and the classic design of the American bald eagle takes center stage. Wings outstretched, the eagle holds arrows and olive branches in its talons, representing the nation's readiness for both defense and peace. This design was a staple on quarters for decades, embodying tradition and national pride before the state-themed quarters brought a new wave of interest to collectors in the late 90s and early 2000s. But here's where things get interesting. Out of the millions of 1987 D quarters minted, only a select few have unique characteristics that make them stand out dramatically. One of the most prized features collectors look for in this coin is the presence of mint errors, particularly the elusive double die. What exactly is a double die? During the minting process, the dies used to stamp coins can sometimes shift slightly between strikes. This shift causes certain elements of the design, such as the date, letters, or words, to appear doubled or shadowed. On the 1987 D quarter, the double die can be spotted on parts like the date, 1987, the word, Liberty, or, In God We Trust. To an untrained eye, this doubling might look like a blur or a minor imperfection, but to collectors, it signals rarity and a fascinating moment in the coin's creation. Mint errors like this are precious because they offer a glimpse into the complex and sometimes imperfect process of coin production. They turn a common coin into a collectible treasure. However, rarity alone doesn't guarantee high value. Condition is equally, if not more, important. Most 1987 D quarters circulating today show the wear and tear of decades, smooth edges, faded details, and a general dullness from handling. These circulated coins usually have little value beyond their face or a modest premium. However, a small number of these quarters have been preserved in mint state condition, meaning they show little to no wear, crisp details, and a bright, lustrous finish as if they were freshly minted. It's this combination, rare minting errors plus outstanding condition, that transforms the 1987 D quarter into a prized collectible. Coins that hit this sweet spot are incredibly scarce and highly desirable among collectors who compete to add them to their collections. Collectors see these coins as more than just currency. They represent a tangible connection to the history of the United States Mint and a snapshot of the production process in the late 20th century. The 1987 D quarter is a bridge between the traditional quarter designs and the exciting new series that would soon follow, making it a pivotal piece for any serious numismatist. So, what does all this mean when it comes to value? The worth of a 1987 D quarter varies widely depending on whether it carries mint errors like double dies and on the coin's condition. Many examples are only worth a small premium over face value, especially if they're circulated and error-free. However, those rare quarters that exhibit clear double die errors and have been preserved in exceptional condition can be extremely valuable. In fact, the coin value for these remarkable 1987 D quarters can range from tens of thousands of dollars, typically falling between $72,000 and $78,000. This range reflects how much collectors value rarity and condition, and it highlights how dramatically a coin's worth can increase based on these factors. This incredible value is a reminder that even the most unassuming coins can harbor hidden treasures, waiting to be discovered by someone with the knowledge and keen eye to appreciate their significance. If you come across a 1987 D quarter, don't rush to spend it without taking a closer look. Examine the date and inscriptions carefully under magnification to see if any doubling is present. Consider the coin's overall condition. Is the detail crisp and sharp? If so, you might be holding a remarkable piece of American history and a valuable collectible. In the world of coin collecting, every detail matters. From the smallest minting anomaly to the sharpness of the design, these factors come together to create coins that are much more than just currency. They are stories, artifacts, and sometimes, surprisingly valuable treasures. So, keep an eye out for the 1987 D quarter, because it's more than just a quarter. It's a coin that has quietly earned its place among some of the most valuable and sought-after coins of its era. Now we're moving to the fifth and final coin of today's list, and this one isn't just rare, it's in a league of its own. A true legend among quarters. If you thought the others were valuable, this coin takes rarity and value to a completely different level. This isn't just a collectible. It's a phenomenon. Meet the crown jewel of today's countdown, the most expensive and rarest quarter dollar ever recorded in U.S. history. At first glance, it might not look like anything extraordinary. It has the same familiar design, the face of George Washington, the typical quarter weight and feel. But what lies beneath this ordinary appearance is something extraordinary, something that takes this coin from pocket change to museum-worthy treasure. The story of this quarter begins not with grandeur, but with a mistake. A simple, unexpected error at the U.S. Mint. One day, during what should have been a standard production run, a coin press operator fed the machine with what they believed were normal quarter planchets, blank discs meant to be struck into 25-cent coins. But among them was one that didn't belong. It was slightly different. Slightly older. And made of a different composition altogether. That rogue planchet. It came from an earlier era, a silver-based blank, possibly left behind in the mint's equipment from decades past. Maybe a leftover from the 1960s silver coinage. Maybe from a returned foreign planchet. Whatever the case, it shouldn't have been there. But it was. And it was about to become part of U.S. coinage history. The machine struck the planchet without hesitation. It pressed the iconic Washington quarter design onto this mystery metal. The outcome? A wildly rare error coin, struck on a silver planchet instead of the modern copper-nickel clad. And that wasn't the only thing that made it special. When the coin emerged, it carried with it not only the wrong metal, but also subtle shifts in strike pressure, alignment, and tone. Under magnification, it revealed incredible details, sharper edge definition, unusual shine, and faint design inconsistencies that told experts, without question, that something rare had just been born. Now, mistakes happen at mints, but rarely do they result in something so stunning. Even more rare is for such a coin to escape destruction. Most errors are caught. Most are melted down before they ever reach the public. But this one slipped through. By pure chance, or perhaps quiet preservation, it survived, and that survival. That's where the real story begins. This coin never entered circulation. It wasn't passed around in pocket change. It wasn't tossed in a soda machine or dropped in a toll booth. Instead, it was discovered early, tucked away, perhaps by someone who noticed something different. It remained untouched for decades. No scratches. No signs of wear. Just radiant mint luster and that mysterious metallic sheen that set it apart from every other 1983 quarter. Over time, whispers of the coin reached the ears of collectors. It was inspected. Graded. Authenticated by top-tier experts who confirmed what the owner suspected: it was genuine, it was rare, and it was absolutely unique. A true mint error of historic proportions. When the coin finally made its appearance at a major numismatic auction, the anticipation was electric. Dealers flew in just to see it. Bidders waited, paddles in hand, knowing this wasn't just a coin, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The bidding began. Quietly at first. Then stronger. Fiercer. Numbers jumped. Phones rang. Online bids poured in, and then, the final bid came. The gavel dropped. That quarter, struck in error and preserved in brilliance, sold for an incredible auction price of $91,000. It's almost hard to believe that something so small, something so familiar, could hold so much value. But that's the world of rare coins. It's not just about age. It's not just about condition. It's about the story. The accident. The mystery. The tiny slip in routine that created a perfect storm of rarity and perfection. This particular quarter is now locked away in a high-security collection. Its owner understands that it's not just a piece of metal. It's a slice of American history. A symbol of everything that makes coin collecting exciting: the thrill of discovery, the beauty of imperfection, and the unbelievable possibility that your next big find might already be in your change. JAR.IT also serves as a powerful reminder that numismatics isn't reserved for the wealthy or the elite. Anyone, truly anyone, can stumble across something extraordinary. That's the magic. Sometimes, the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight. So if you're holding a 1983 quarter, look again. Hold it to the light. Examine the edge. Feel the texture. You never know, you just might be holding the next great story. And that brings us to the end of today's countdown. A list filled with surprises, with hidden gems, and with stories that prove how even the smallest coins can carry the biggest legends. And at the top of that list sits the 1983 Washington quarter with the rare silver planchet error, a record-breaking piece of history, sold for $91,000, and proof that when it comes to rare coins, never underestimate the power of a single mistake. And that wraps up today's list of rare and incredibly valuable quarters, each one a reminder that hidden treasure could be closer than you think. If you enjoyed this video and want more discoveries like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel,